Hi, I'm Melanie. All my life, I've tried to be the perfect daughter, but today proved that was never going to be enough. My wedding day should have been perfect. The flowers were gorgeous. The venue was exactly what I'd dreamed of, and my dress made me feel like a princess. But as I peeked from behind the doors before walking down the aisle, my stomach dropped. The entire left side of the church, where my family was supposed to sit, was practically empty. "They're still not here?" I whispered, clutching my bouquet tighter. Sarah, my maid of honor, squeezed my arm. "Don't let them ruin this. You look beautiful, and Jake is waiting for you." I nodded, fighting back tears. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I'd sent the invitations 3 months ago, called each of them personally. Even begged Mom to help with the planning, hoping it would make her feel included. The music started, and I forced a smile. With each step down the aisle, the empty seats screamed at me. No dad to walk me down, no mom crying happy tears, no Diana, my sister, sitting there with that judgmental look she always had. Uncle Frank had shown up at least, sitting awkwardly with a few distant cousins, looking uncomfortable in his rarely worn suit. When I reached the altar, Jake's eyes widened. "You're breathtaking," he whispered, then noticed my trembling lips. "Hey, you okay?" I nodded slightly, not trusting my voice. During the ceremony, I kept glancing at the doors, hoping they'd burst in with some excuse about traffic or a flat tire. But deep down, I knew. This was deliberate. At the reception, Sarah stepped up for the mother-daughter dance, making jokes to lighten the mood. "I've always wanted to lead anyway," she said, twirling me around while guests pretended not to notice the substitution. Between fake smiles and thank yous to guests, I kept checking my phone. No calls, no texts, nothing. "I called your mom again," Jake said, handing me a glass of champagne. "Straight to voicemail." "Of course it did," I replied, downing the drink in one gulp. Later, Uncle Frank approached, looking uncomfortable. "Your mother said something about not supporting this marriage. Diana was in her ear about it too. I'm sorry, kiddo." That night in our hotel room, while Jake slept, I sat by the window scrolling through my phone. Family photos from holidays where I'd worked so hard to please them. Mom's constant criticism. Dad's passive silence. Diana's smug face whenever I failed at something. "You're still up?" Jake mumbled, reaching for my hand. "They couldn't even call. 28 years of trying to be what they wanted, and they couldn't give me one day." "Their loss," he said, pulling me back to bed. "No," I whispered as he drifted back to sleep. "It's going to be their loss. I'm done being the family doormat." I wiped away a tear, my sadness hardening into something else. They think they can just erase me? That there are no consequences? They have no idea what's coming. Because nobody walks away from destroying the most important day of my life. Not even family. Especially not family. 2 weeks in Hawaii was exactly what I needed to temporarily forget about my family drama. Sand, sun, and Jake's constant reminders that we were building our own family now. But reality hit hard when we got back to our apartment. Wedding gifts needed thank you cards, and seeing the guest list again reminded me of everyone who didn't show. "I think we should find out exactly what happened," Jake said, bringing me coffee as I stared at my phone. "It's not like your entire family to ghost you without some reason." "I've texted Uncle Frank to meet for lunch tomorrow. He seemed uncomfortable at the wedding. I bet he knows something." The next day at Denny's, Uncle Frank fidgeted with his napkin before I even asked anything. "Just spit it out. What did they say about me?" "Look, Melanie, I didn't want to ruin your honeymoon with this garbage. Diana told everyone that Jake had gambling debts, said he was marrying you for money, and that's not all." He looked down at his untouched pancakes. "She said you were pregnant and rushing the wedding to cover it up." My coffee mug nearly shattered in my grip. "That's ridiculous. We've been engaged for over a year." "I know, kiddo. But your sister has Rebecca's ear. Always has. And Dad? What was his excuse?" "You know, Richard, path of least resistance, said something about respecting your mother's wishes." I called Aunt Cheryl next, Mom's sister who'd always been more reasonable. Your mother intercepted the invitations you sent to the extended family, she revealed during our call. Told everyone you wanted a small ceremony. I only found out about the real date after talking to Frank. She deliberately sabotaged my wedding? Why would she do that? Honestly, I think she's always been jealous of your independence. You didn't need her approval like Diana does. I met Sarah for drinks that night, still reeling from what I'd learned. We need evidence, Sarah said, ordering another round. Screenshots, texts, anything that proves they did this on purpose. How? It's not like they're going to admit it. Your cousin Emma is still friends with Diana on social media, right? And didn't you say Emma still has access to your family's shared cloud photos from that vacation last year? 3 days later, Sarah burst into my apartment waving her phone. Got it! Emma came through with screenshots from Diana's private Instagram. Look at this post from 2 days before your wedding. The photo showed Diana and Mom having lunch with the caption, "Wedding plans successfully derailed. No spotlight for Little Miss Perfect this weekend." There's more. Sarah scrolled through her phone. Emma found text messages between Diana and your mom about intercepting invitations, and one from your dad agreeing to the whole thing. I felt sick seeing the evidence. My own family had conspired against me. I've been making excuses for them my entire life, I whispered, tears burning my eyes, telling myself they loved me despite how they treated me. What are you going to do? Sarah asked. I wiped my eyes, a calm settling over me. First, I'm going to compile all this evidence. Then I'm going to create a situation where they can't deny what they did. You mean confront them? Oh no, I said, already formulating a plan. I'm going to let them expose themselves. Diana's always been greedy. Mom's obsessed with her reputation, and Dad's a coward. I'm going to use all of that against them. Operation Diana's downfall is officially underway, I said, creating a fake email account on my laptop. Jake looked over my shoulder. Are you sure about this? Once you start, there's no going back. They didn't just miss my wedding, they actively sabotaged it. I'm done playing nice. First step, create irresistible bait. Diana had always wanted to break into real estate investment, but lacked the connections. I crafted an email from a successful investor looking for local partners in a can't-miss opportunity. The catch? They needed to meet all potential partners first. She'll never suspect it's coming from me, I smirked, sending the email to Diana's business address. Sure enough, she took the bait. 3 days later, I had Sarah call her pretending to be the investor's assistant to set up a meeting at a coffee shop where I could watch from a distance. She's totally buying it, Sarah reported after the call. Also, I convinced her to bring her boyfriend Mark. He should see what she's really like. On meeting day, I sat in the corner with a hoodie and sunglasses, recording app ready on my phone. Diana walked in with Mark, looking like she'd already spent the commission. This could change everything for us, she gushed to him, straightening his tie. Just let me do the talking. After 30 minutes of waiting, Diana started calling the fake investor's number repeatedly. I can't believe this! I rearranged my entire schedule for this meeting. Mark tried calming her down. Maybe something happened. People have emergencies. Don't be stupid. This is how business works. People play power games. She slammed her hand on the table. Just like my pathetic sister's wedding drama. All for attention. I tensed up, pressing record on my phone. What wedding drama? I thought she just had a small ceremony, Mark asked. Please. She sent those invitations knowing Mom would never approve of that loser she married. It was all a setup so she could play victim when nobody showed. But didn't you tell me her fiancé had gambling problems? Who cares if I exaggerated a bit? Mom needed a reason to skip it. Besides, Melanie always gets everything. College paid for, that promotion last year. It was my turn to win. I had enough recorded. Time for phase 2. The next day, I coincidentally ran into Diana at the grocery store. Oh my God, Melanie, what are you doing here? She fake smiled, glancing around nervously. Shopping, like people do. Funny running into you after you ghosted my wedding. Her face hardened. Don't start. Mom made the decision for all of us. After you lied about Jake having gambling debts? What? I never said that. I pulled out my phone. Should I play the recording from yesterday, with Mark sitting right there? Her face went white. You were spying on me? Call it karma. I'm having dinner with Mom and Dad this weekend. You should come. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, they get the recording first. Your choice. That Sunday, I showed up at my parents' house with Jake. Mom barely acknowledged us, while Dad awkwardly offered drinks. Diana arrived with Mark, shooting daggers at me. Family dinner, just like old times, I said cheerfully. Cut the act, Diana snapped. What do you want? The truth? About why nobody came to my wedding? Mom stiffened. We've discussed this. We didn't approve of the match. Based on what? Diana's lies? Don't blame your sister for your poor choices, Mom defended. I played the coffee shop recording. Mark's face showed shock. Dad stared at his shoes, but Mom just crossed her arms. You recorded your sister without permission. That's low, Melanie. Lower than sabotaging my wedding? Diana lunged across the table. You think you're so smart? I'll ruin your life if you share that recording. Go ahead and try, I smiled, holding up my phone. Because this isn't the only evidence I've collected. I've created a shared folder with all the evidence, I said, pulling out a second phone. One click and it goes to every family member, Diana's workplace, and the community board Mom is so proud to be on. Diana shot up from her chair. You wouldn't dare! Try me. I've spent my whole life letting you all walk all over me. Not anymore. Mark stood up looking disgusted. I think I've heard enough. Diana, we need to talk. Outside. Now. After they left, Dad finally spoke up. Melanie, isn't this a bit extreme? We're family. Family? You weren't family when you let Mom and Diana trash my wedding. You weren't family when you chose to stay home instead of walking your daughter down the aisle. The next morning, I sent the evidence to the entire extended family group chat. This is why none of you received wedding invitations. I thought you should know the truth. Within hours, my phone exploded with messages. Aunt Cheryl called immediately. I had no idea it was this bad. Your mother is getting calls from everyone. She's furious. Good. Actions have consequences. The fallout was swift. Diana's boss called her in after receiving anonymous evidence of her character. Apparently, lying about people raised red flags about business ethics. She's on probation at work, Uncle Frank reported 2 weeks later. And Mark broke up with her, moved out completely. What about Mom and Dad? Your mother's been asked to step down from the community board. Your father just keeps his head down as usual. 3 months later, Mom showed up at my door unannounced. I suppose you're happy now. Your sister can barely show her face in town. My friends won't return my calls. Is that supposed to be an apology? Fine, I'm sorry we missed your wedding. There. Happy? I laughed. You didn't miss my wedding. You deliberately sabotaged it, lied to family, and then defended those actions when confronted. What do you want from me? I've lost my position, my reputation. Funny how you're only here because you lost things that matter to you, not because you hurt me. I closed the door on her stunned face. Our 1-year anniversary came around faster than I expected. Jake and I renewed our vows with people who actually cared. Sarah, Uncle Frank, Aunt Cheryl, and friends who'd become more family than my relatives. Sarah pulled me aside with fresh gossip. Diana's real estate license got suspended. And your parents? They're selling the house, moving to Florida because they need a change. Running away from the mess they made, I said, feeling peaceful. Later, Jake wrapped his arms around me as we danced. Any regrets? He asked. I thought about the empty chairs at our wedding and how full the room was now with people who truly loved us. Not a single one. They showed me who they really were. I just finally believed them. I looked around at my chosen family celebrating with us. This is all the family I need. Would you have the courage to cut off toxic family members completely? Or do you believe blood ties should always be given second chances no matter what they've done to you? If you enjoyed Melanie's journey to justice, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Family drama stories like this one are posted regularly on this channel, so subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more people standing up to toxic relationships. Thanks for watching.